Our special cook-along guest for today is the much-loved actress Ayanda Borotho. Now, this stellar performer has blessed our television screens for years on end without fail, having featured on shows like Generations, Soul City, Intersections, Nomzamo. She is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Ayanda recently released her autobiography titled Unbecoming to Become My Journey Back to Self. And this book basically details her experiences through hardship, acceptance, and learning. She joins us now to chat about her vast experience in the industry and the new book. So please do connect with us online. And if you've got any questions for our fantastic guest, let us know. All you need to do is visit our Facebook page, Afternoon Express, or tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the official hashtag Afternoon Express. Hi, gorgeous!
Hey, how are you? I already feel so emotional looking at my book.
Why? Is it an emotional thing for you to see your book?
I think it is. I think it is. You know, when I first started penning a year ago, I didn't think this journey would turn out to be what it is now. Yeah. And I certainly didn't, you know, I knew people wanted to hear more from me, but I didn't think I'd have such an overwhelming response of support and love and healing from women who...
Can I tell you, the bit I've read about from this book is so emotional. I can't believe what you've shared in here. It must have been such a tremendous journey. Why did you decide to write it?
It's funny, actually, because social media was the foundation.
Really?
For deciding to write the book.
In what way?
So I use my social media platform to connect with people. Yeah. I talk about the social issues that I speak about in the book, and that's just how I engage.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of response and engagement coming from the audience, and I couldn't share enough of myself. And so there were calls for me to write the book, and I used to think, oh my gosh, are these people crazy? Like, book, caption, two different things, you know what I mean? Like, I would go into bookstores and I would look at huge books and I would think, where are the words gonna come from? I know there's a lot to share, but where are the words gonna come from? I don't even know what to write about, right?
I know that feeling.
So it was overwhelming, but I knew that the book needed to be written. Yeah. Because there were a lot more women who needed to hear this truth, right? And it's interesting because your producer, Matumi, and I were having this conversation about how, for me, it was important that I include the masses that are not included on social media. No. Because, you know, by default of social media, and by how we engage on social media, language, the social media jargon, the expectations on social media, there are a lot of messes that we
Can I tell you, I hate social media, and I know it's funny for me to say because I love social media, but like it's just so fake. And something that really, like, going through this book and reading it, the things that you shared were things that women really do need to hear. I don't really care where anybody got their shoes, but you wrote about things like your failed marriage, abortion, so many heart-wrenching things that, I mean, that couldn't have been easy for you to pen. However, millions of girls in this country need to read those stories.
They do. I mean, I had an experience just this morning when I was coming here at OR, and I walked into the bathroom, and the lady that was cleaning the bathroom greeted with a huge smile. Yeah. And I was thinking, oh gosh, I hope she doesn't want a picture because I'm really not in the mood. I'm tired, I've been traveling, I'm exhausted. I'm going to Durban from here. I just wasn't in the mood. And when I was combing my hair, she was still cleaning the mirrors, and I could hear her. She was greeting people that were coming in and out. She was just so lively and bubbly, and she just radiated light and love. And her and I started chatting, and of course we chatted about the show I'm on, and we started chatting about life, marriage, kids. And I realized this is somebody that could benefit from the book. Yeah. So I said to her, are you on social media? She said, no. Have you heard about my book? No, she hasn't heard about my book. Yeah. But I'm thinking, this is exactly the kind of woman who's going through these issues who actually needs to be reading this book. Yeah. But she doesn't have access to social media. Yeah. And also, you know, it's weird because I think we tend to say that we write books, or black people don't read books, right? And I think that's a very distorted narrative, because actually we don't write books that people can relate to, that the masses can relate to. And that was important for me when I wrote this book, that even in the tone and the language and the conversational way in which I was writing the book, I wanted people to be able to relate. I didn't want to be sophisticated. I wasn't writing an intelligent book. I was writing about an experience, and I wanted people to connect to the experience.
But it's not even a black-white story. It's a human story.
Yeah.
Because I'm on social media, and yet so many of the topics, like I've got failed relationships, I've been cheated on, like it happens.
Yeah.
And it's just so beautifully relatable.
Yeah.
How do you handle fame? Because you come across as somebody who is so, you've got, you know, your own conviction, and you've got this amazing sense of self that you seem so unbothered by everything else around you. I mean, do you enjoy it?
Yes and no. Yes, because I think the platform affords me influence.
Yeah.
Which is important if you're influencing the right thing.
Yeah.
So yes, in that aspect, but no, because I think people think they own you. I write about in the book the chapter called "Through the Lens of the World," where there are just certain things I can't enjoy because I'm recognizable, right? One of the experiences I actually write about is going to support my niece who was in Joburg from KZN. She had come to play netball nationals. She plays regional for the regional team in KZN. And she had come here on tournament. It was going to be the first time I was going to support her. Yeah. She was happy to have me on the stands. She lost her mom, who was a dear friend of mine, when she was 5 years old. So she's basically like my daughter, right? Yeah. And she's also, she's you know, her dad is my cousin. And so there I drive off with my other daughter, and we're going to support her. I walk into the court. The kids see me. They started going crazy ballistic.
Then it's not about her.
Everybody is like pulling me. They're trying to take pictures. They're trying to, you know, we actually had to stop. They had to stop the match, and I was escorted off the court. And I couldn't watch. I'd come to watch my niece, and I couldn't watch. And I was robbed of what I think was a really important moment for me and her. Yeah. It was an important experience for me and her. And I think her mom would have been so proud just to have me in the stands watching her. And I couldn't do it. So in some regards, yes, but in many respects, no.
Yeah. It's bittersweet.
Yeah,
it's bittersweet. You are so amazing. I'm so, so grateful to have you here today. I just have one question. I know that I have to go, but in your book, you write a letter to your younger self, and it almost is, what was so beautiful about it, it's a love letter to yourself almost. I love how you've learned to love yourself so much. To your younger self, and to all the young girls sitting at home now who are going through a bit of a tough time, why should they read this book?
Because it's important to learn that you must live, but you mustn't leave yourself behind. Yeah. And I think that's the mistake a lot of us girls make, is that because there's so many narratives forced upon us, we end up not living life fully and purposefully because we're living narratives that are dictated to us by society and the world, and stereotypes and religion and culture and a belief system that's not necessarily ours. And we leave ourselves behind. And so for me, I think it's important for every girl, every young girl. I'm on a campaign now to get as many girls in matric to read the book, because I want them to read this book before they go out into the world, so they have a solid sense of self and understanding who they are, but also understanding how to recognize the narratives that are put on you, so you don't wear the coats that the world makes you wear.
Thank you for writing this. You know, women lose themselves. I lose myself. You've lost yourself. It's so important to find those tracks again and come back to who you truly are and like yourself. Yeah. Thank you for writing this. So we've asked you if you've got any questions for our incredible Ayanda. And Busiswa Goodness asked, "Hey Ayanda, you are my everyday inspiration. What motivated you to start acting?"
Wow. Look, I've always been a public speaker at school. I've always been creative at school. I acted at school. And I loved acting. I loved acting. And so, you know, and I got to Joburg, but actually and buy the book so you can read the story. When I got to Joburg, I had dreams of wanting to act, but I also wanted to be in the advertising industry. But when I fell pregnant at 22, I had to abandon that dream. And funny enough is I had a long, extensive corporate life, and I did very well in corporate for a very long time. But then in 2007, I abandoned corporate and I pursued my dream of acting. So I pursued it because it was a passion.
Then Stembiso Kumalo asked, what tips would you give someone who's trying to make it as an actor in South Africa?
I say this to all young people who are trying to get into the acting industry. First of all, understand if you can really act, because people think they can act when actually they can't act. They can do skits and they look funny, but you know, doing skits and performance are two very different things. So it's about understanding if you can really act, and it's about getting the professionals to give you the heads up to say you can. But in terms of trying to get into the industry, I think there's such a long queue of potential actors and people lining up for auditions and trying to get onto shows that it really is difficult. So I always say the best way to get into the industry is to go to any production house and say, can I just come here and sweep?
Yeah.
Can I just come here and serve tea to the crew?
Yeah.
Can I be that guy or that girl that carries Jeannie's handbag?
Intern.
Right?
Nobody carries my handbag, unfortunately. It's
whatever
too
it
damn
is,
heavy.
whatever it is that will get you in the door. Because here's the thing: if you're inside, you have the advantage because you've now overtaken 500 people who are in the queue. You're now number one because you're inside. But also when the scripts are coming out, you have the advantage of knowing what's coming up in story and so what characters they're going to need. And because you already have formed the relationships, you can go to the casting director and say, hey, I'd like to try out for this. And because you're inside, you can try as many times as you want.
Totally.
Right?
And you do grow that quickly in an industry. Like we've got a guy here who does our social media. In fact, he's been here for a year today. Welcome. He thinks he's my boss. Actually, I think he's my boss as well. Thank you so much for answering these questions. Okay, one more. Let's go to Bonginkosi Rasi. Afternoon. The question that I have for Anna is, what does she like to do in her spare time?
Sleep.
Oh.
I like to sleep.
What spare time?
I like to sleep, but honestly, I don't have a lot of spare time. So the spare time that I have, I try to spend with my kids. It's a deliberate, conscious decision to spend as much time as I can with my children when I'm home.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What a queen. So join us after the break as we take up a delicious braised beef stew with a side of veg. Hope you're a good cook.
I am.